Well, good morning, everyone. I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. If you are a solo entrepreneur or service provider, ask yourself if some of these questions resonate with you. And if they do, then this episode you've got to watch. You've got to watch till the very end because it's going to answer some of the questions that you might be having. You've been in business for a while and you're just not happy with your income. You've been in business for a while and you're just not happy with how your processes and systems are in place. You've been in business for a while and you don't know what to be focusing on. There's all these opportunities that are out there and you're thinking, well, should I do this? Should I be offered this? What should I be doing to double your income, let's say, for an example. Maybe you're working your business part-time and you have either a full-time job or you are full-time maybe staying home looking after the kids, and right now you're just focused, any extra time you've got, you're just focused on making money. Sort of the holy grail in business, making money. Maybe also you would love to work from a plan, but you don't know actually where to start, and what the heck is planning? It sounds boring, it doesn't sound interesting, and yet somewhere in the back of your mind you know, gee, if I had a plan, then I'd know what to be working on. Because right now you might be saying, well, today do I focus on this? Do I focus on this? What do I focus on? So there's those questions. So if any of what I just said has resonated with you, then again, this episode 48, build your business strategically or by the seat of your pants, that question is going to be answered for you today. And it may be a bit self-evident already in the title. However, there's lots of businesses that are successful out there who have built their business by the seat of their pants. So I'm not saying that it's going to be impossible to do it, but just we're going to talk about maybe some benefits to doing that. So what I'm going to do first, I've got 4 of my VIPs on the call today, so I would like you to hear from them, what they do, and how you can connect with them should you want one of the services that they provide. So we'll start with on my left to right, your right to left, which we'll start with you, Bonnie, and tell us about you.
Hello, Kerry. Thank you. Always good to be here with you and the panelists. I'm Bonnie Mitchell, and I own a boutique graphic design service, Mitchell Creative. And what I do is I help businesses all over the world increase their sales and revenue by creating marketing material that supports their brand image, and their brand's message. So what I like to say to people is that your company's appeal is a big deal. So I ensure consistency across all marketing material and create brands that are quickly recognizable and speak to their target audience. And I can be found at bonniemitchell.ca or on Facebook under Mitchell Creative.
Great. Excellent. Thank you. Kathy, we'll go on to you. Let's hear about you.
Great. Good morning, everybody. My name's Kathy Scott. My business is called Niche Travel, and I specialize in boutique women's tours all over the world. And so kind of recreating that whole experience that you had when you were just out of college and you wanted to go and explore the world, but these tours are done in a manner that women of our age would really enjoy them. So it's a lot of fun. And you can find me at nichetravel.ca.
Great. Excellent. Thank you, Kathy. And Grace, tell us about you.
Good morning, Kerry. I'm Grace Gary. My business is Graceful Solutions. I'm a counsellor, and I help people who run up against a roadblock in life and they don't know what to do, and I help them move it so that they can feel back in control and feel happy. And I have a special interest in emotional eating, and I have a group coming up an online group, 4 weeks, a 4-week group starting on the 6th of April called Control Your Weight, Control Your Life. And you can find me at gracefulsolutions.ca.
Great. Thank you, Grace. And Mary Lou.
Good morning, Kerry and panelists. It's always nice to be here. My name is Mary Lou Newbold, and I am co-owner of the Mayfair Optometric Clinic here in Victoria. We specialize in eye care, obviously, and we consider ourselves leading experts in eye care, and you can find us at mayfairoptometric.com.
Great. Excellent. So as you can see by my panelists, we have a wide spectrum of people who can benefit from the kinds of coaching that I provide. I've been a business coach for almost 18 years now, and I provide tips and strategies in a group situation. I do group coaching, and I also do one-on-one coaching. So you can reach me at hangoutwithcoachkerry.com. In fact, you can go on there and grab my ebook, How to Get Out of Overwhelm and Accelerate Your Business Now, my secret formula for success. So go on and grab yourself a copy. It's free. And also past episodes of this show, if you're watching me right now on YouTube and you want to know how to find out more about things that I've done, if you go to hangoutwithcoachkerry.com, and Kerry is spelled Kerry, then you can see 47 other episodes that are there, and also lots of free tools and resources for that really I want to be able to support you to be successful. So let's get into this topic because I'm particularly passionate about this whole subject matter, especially when I see so many female solo entrepreneurs and service providers, some of them floundering, some of them just absolutely overwhelmed with the amount of stuff that they have to take care of and do, and I want to be able to make some inroads in that today if we can. So I'm going to mix things up a little bit today, and I'm going to start with Grace and have you ask me your question today.
Okay, Kerry, so I think this is a great topic, and my question is, what does it mean to be strategic, to think strategically about our business rather than do it by the seat of our pants?
Yes, actually, really great question. And I think that most of us, if we think of the word strategically or strategy, it sounds a bit overwhelming. It sounds a bit like, where would I start? It sounds like, well, that's for those kinds of businesses, but maybe not mine. And I would say that, first of all, everyone can benefit from having some strategy plan in place. But what's the difference? Well, I think we know what seat of your pants looks like. You know, you have an idea, you get encouraged to do it, you start your business, and you build it, and you hope that they will come. And for a lot of businesses, that they actually do. You know, there's been the perfect timing in the marketplace. It's unique. You know, their differentiator in the marketplace is seen, and they have customers and clients, and all of a sudden they've got some business. So, you know, starting it strategically can sometimes be a way that a lot of people start and have some success with it. But what strategically is that it allows you to evaluate the direction you're going. It starts, first of all, as really taking an assessment as to, you know, where do you want to be? In, let's say, 5 years, where do you want to be? What are those important things that need to be in place for you to say that your business has been successful for you? And I'm not talking about putting on rose-colored glasses and pie in the sky, but I'm talking about, you know, what is it that matters most to you? You also want to take a look at what your purpose is. Well, when you're building your business by the seat of your pants, you're probably just running off passion. And while passion's important, and I've dedicated an episode to this on my show, while passion's important, passion alone will not be a guarantee of success. So strategically, as you start and look at all of the various components of your business, do some analysis. Actually, even take a look at, you know, who is your competition. I am shocked, absolutely shocked, at how many people are in business, and when I ask them who their ideal client is, they're unable to articulate that. They're unable to articulate who their ideal client is. They're unable to articulate maybe even the demographic or psychographic of it. And especially those people who come to me and say, well, I need more business, so I want to do this as a marketing strategy. So they're going to spend a lot of money on putting a marketing strategy in place, and they haven't even identified really the core pieces of their business. I had some clients just recently, in fact, real estate agents, who were saying that actually this particular real estate agent, he actually didn't have hadn't identified his ideal client, and was ready for him to do some marketing. Well, how can you do any marketing when you don't know who your ideal client is? So, and that's the same for each one of my panelists here, whether you're a graphic designer, you know, whether you're doing women's tours, whether you're doing counseling, or whether you're taking care of eye health for people. You have to know who your ideal client is, especially from a marketing strategy, especially from when you're taking actions moving your business forward. You need to know exactly, are these steps moving forward? It's really no different than if you were planning a vacation. And let's say it was going to be a driving vacation. And you were starting in Victoria, British Columbia, Canada, which is on the very, very west coast on Vancouver Island, and you wanted to make it to Florida in a month, because that's where your destination was going to be. And you were going to stay in Florida for quite a while. Well, you'd need to have a plan. First of all, you'd start with where you wanted to go, and then you'd have to walk through all the steps that you're going to go through to get there. Now, along the way, there are going to be some detours. There's going to be some forks in the road, there's going to be some construction, maybe weather's going to detour you a certain place, maybe you're going to love a particular place where you are and you want to stay there. Well, unless you knew you were going to Florida, and unless you had some milestones along the way, unless you had a map in order to be able to tell you where to get from one place to the next, the day you decided that you didn't want to stay where you were and you wanted to get up and head somewhere, well, where would where be? Where would you go if you hadn't already predetermined that it was actually going to be Florida and you were going to take this route to get there? Absolutely, there's going to be adjustments along the way, and that's typical of any business. There's always going to be adjustments along the way. However, if you haven't planned it out beforehand and at least had some benchmarks, some metrics, how do you even know if you're going to arrive in Florida 1 month later? So, Grace, I hope that was an example of strategic versus what straight seat of your pants would be is just getting up one day and saying, well, I've got some money in my pocket, I'm going to drive towards the ferry and I'm going to get on the ferry and I'm going to go wherever I want to go. Now, for a vacation, if you have no destination in mind and you've got all the time in the world and budget is no issue, then possibly that might be a way you want to actually go on vacation. Actually, that would probably be more taking some time off and wandering and being a vagabond. But the fact of the matter is that that's not a good strategy to build a business. And I think you've all heard me and my explanation that the best way to do it is to have a plan in place. Grace, did that answer your question?
Yes, I like that idea, that metaphor of going to Florida, and it's about really working smart rather than working hard. We all know how to work hard, but it's how to be purposeful, right, in what we do.
Absolutely, and there's no way to know along the way, so great. I'm glad you like that explanation. So think about that. Think about that vacation. I mean, Kathy, you would do that for all of your tours, of course. You would map out all of those pieces within it. Imagine sending a bunch of ladies to Ireland, and they don't know where they're going when they get there, and there's no plan in place for that, and there's no kind of destination for how many days they're going to be there. Well, at the end of the day, that tour is not going to be very successful. So again, I think I've made that one really clear. So Bonnie, why don't we go back to you now and have you ask me your question?
Okay, so I'm wondering, what is wrong with building a business by the seat of your pants, or rolling with the changes as they arise?
Yeah, and in a way I've probably answered a little bit of that already, but let's really identify some of the challenges that I see by people who do build their business by the seat of their pants. And there's probably more of them that I'll come up. I've made a few of them here in anticipating this question. Is you're unable to evaluate when things come at you, other than really from an emotional standpoint or from a perspective of in that moment the thinking you have. And what I know is that we get to a certain place in our businesses that our level of thinking has allowed us to get to. And in order for us to move to the next level, we have to have a different perspective. We have to change our thinking. We need to up-level our thinking. And when you're building your business by the seat of your pants, you're really not being challenged to question that thinking in the way that you would if you had a plan in place and questions to actually walk you through putting that plan in place. So first of all, how do you evaluate what comes at you? You don't know if you're on track. How would you know? Using that analogy or that metaphor that I used of going to Florida, how do you know if you're halfway there, a quarter of the way there? What are your benchmarking tools? How do you know? So it's really hard to evaluate if you are on track. It's easy to play small. It's really easy to play small and get stuck in the day-to-day operations of your business. They're not going to push you to grow and challenge yourself. So it's really easy to play small when you don't take the time to be able to step back and really evaluate it. You're constantly playing catch-up because you're working backwards. So let's say you've had some success in your business, and then now what happens is you realize, oh my goodness, I need to have some systems in place. Or are we going the direction we want to go? We thought we were going here, and we're over here. Is this where we want to go? You might find yourself feeling unfulfilled in your business. You may have some success, but somehow it's not resonating with you. Somehow you're working with clients that and customers that you really don't like. And so how did that happen? Well, that probably happened because you were taking whatever came along versus having a filter in place, a way to decide whether this is your ideal client and this is the client that you'd rather actually refer or pass on to somebody else. And I'm using the terms client and customer interchangeably here. You also can chase after opportunities that can take you off track really easily. So this new shiny thing comes along, or another marketing idea comes along, and you go, oh, this is really good. I find that for a lot of you, when I hear about it, is that, you know, your door, your email, your phone is ringing with people who want you to invest in all different kinds of marketing strategies. And remember, they're in the business of selling advertising or whatever their particular strategy is. And don't get me wrong, we need them. They're absolutely important, and they deserve to have a job and make good income and all of that. But the fact of the matter is it the thing that you should be investing in your business right at this particular moment in time? And I see so many of you come to me at that point where you've spent so much money and you're getting no results, and now you're broke. So that can happen, is you can be chasing this and chasing this and chasing that, just hoping something will work because you're kind of scrambling, and that can put you in a really, really tight bind financially and emotionally, because you're exhausted. You know, your energy resources are drained because you're tired of feeling like you're pushing this rock uphill all the time. So that happens a lot when you're building your business just by the seat of your pants. A lack of focus. Well, I've kind of alluded to that, but really, you know, what are you going to work on today? What are you going to work on this week? What are you working on this month? What are you working on this quarter? What are you working on this next 6 months? Oh, what's your focus for this year? Well, if you don't know where you're going, then how can you have focus? What you're really doing is just dealing with whatever happens to me in the moment. This, you know, short-term short-term thinking, and you may have a strategy for a couple of days of doing something, but then it's what's the next thing? What's the next thing? What's the next thing? So you seem to be scrambling all the time to be able to pull some things together because you haven't got that plan in place. So you're also gonna lose really good opportunities because you don't foresee them coming, or you haven't planned that at a certain point this will be a great piece. You know, so often I work with people just like my panelists here, and I want to get them into the habit of saying yes, not right now. So when an opportunity comes along, rather than saying no, what I want you to say is yes, not right now. Well, how will you know that not right now is actually something you want to do unless you know how it's going to fit into your plan or how it will fit? So an opportunity right now, maybe an opportunity down the road, you want to be able to take advantage of it down the road, but right now, because you've got your focus, this needs to be dealt with, you can say, yes, not right now. Because most of us have the fear of saying no, we don't want to miss out on an opportunity. So we have the habit of saying yes too often, and we have too many things, too many ideas, too many things coming at us because there isn't a plan that says, oh, okay, this is when I could implement this. Okay, this is when I could implement that. And that's a perfect example of how you would do it strategically, is being able to say, okay, next year my plan is to do this. This is my year where I'm building this, then in 6 months we're going to do this, and then in a year we're going to do that. So you've got that plan in place, so you're able to say yes, not right now. And then, again, you're moving from one problem, one crisis to the next, and no clear direction at all. So I know, Bonnie, I answered your question with a lot of information that's there, but I hope that gave you some examples of what some of the challenges are of building your business by the seat of your pants versus strategically.
Yes, I think that very clearly illustrates it.
Great, thanks. Kathy, what's your question for me?
Well, I think you know, it makes a lot of sense, Kerry, and you know, we've worked together for a long time, so I really get what you're saying. But I think for the viewers and even for myself, I mean, you get so busy. How complicated does this need to be? How much time does the person need to spend with doing this?
Well, it really depends on the complexity of your business. So if your business is fairly simple and you are the only person implementing the business right at this particular point in time, it doesn't have to be that complicated. If you are a business that already has achieved a high level of success and you've got lots of moving parts, it's going to be more complicated because you've got more moving parts that are going to be happening in it. What makes it challenging when you are a solo entrepreneur is that, of course, you are the chief cook and bottle washer, as my mom would say. You're doing everything, and you don't have an opportunity to be able to delegate. So that has to be taken into consideration. It is challenging to do it on your own because most of us we struggle with the discipline of sitting down and doing it. And it doesn't have to be very complicated. It can be really simple. A simple plan is better than a complicated plan that's never done. So a simple plan is much better than a complicated plan that you never actually create. So waiting for the complicated, perfect plan to be in place will actually be a recipe for most of you disaster, because every day there's actions that you have to be taking, there's tactics that you have to be taking, and how do you evaluate if they're moving you forward in the direction you want to go or not if you actually haven't identified what that is. So Kathy, I hope that answered your question and encouraged you that it doesn't have to be a big complicated one, that you can actually dive in and do some planning without having to, take weeks off and hire, expensive consultants to help you do it.
Oh, that's great. Thanks, Kerry.
You're welcome. Good. And how about for you, Mary Lou? How about your question for me?
Well, I guess leading off of your comments there to Bonnie is just simply, now you have been flying by the seat of your pants, and you've arrived in this place of, constantly reacting to situations, and your day is full. How do you how do you get started on a strategic plan? Like, how do you stop doing it one way and start doing it another? What does that look like?
Great question. And again, it will depend how much time you're going to have to do, depending upon how complex your business is. But really, there's, there are components of the plan that they don't have to be done in all one sitting. So the bottom line is, I guess, Mary Lou, is that if any of the things that resonate, if any of the challenges of building your business by the seat of your pants resonated with you or any of my panelists or any of my audience, then there's a compelling enough reason to actually set aside some time to do it. Compelling enough reason to be able to say, I'm going to spend X amount of time, and you're going to build on the building blocks of it. So it doesn't have to be a full sit-down, 2-week complicated process. You can set aside some time to start. And there are some key components in that process. In fact, my strategy map, 10-week my 10 module program that I'm launching March the 30th will actually take those pieces and break them down over 10 weeks. So depending upon how complicated your business is, there will be some pieces in that will take more time, because you're going to researching your competition, taking some time to flush out all of the strategies that you might use may take a little bit more time depending upon how complex of your business. But I've paced this out over a period of time so it's really easy to consume. But let's say you don't want to do the program, or that isn't what's going to work for you, and you want to do this on your own. You're going to have to break it out into the components of it. So the components start with what's your vision and your mission and your values. That has to be really important, and you want to look at that long term, because that's going to drive where you're going to go. Then you're going to look at your goals, and I recommend you set some yearly goals and you set some quarterly goals. So your quarterly goals are part of that piece that fit in with your yearly goals. So those are your benchmarks along the way. And then what you have to do is put your strategies and tactics in place. But before you do that, you need to figure out, where am I right now? Using my metaphor, you need to know you're in Victoria, and where you want to go is Florida. And then you're going to flush out your most important ones, and you're going to flush out those tactics. Now again, we don't have time on this episode for me to be able to share with you all of the questions that need to be asked in it, but you've got to start at the very beginning. So start with the end in mind, as Stephen Covey would say in his book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. You always start with the end in mind, and that's where you start. So vision, mission, values. So back to your question, Mary Lou, it's a really valid question, because each and every one of you on this panelist have businesses that are busy, and my audience, I'm sure, exactly the same thing. Whether it's even a part-time business, but you're working part-time as well. Time is a tough commodity. But I really encourage you to ask yourself, what's it costing me? What's it costing me to not spend the time planning, and really get clear on that cost? And then flip to the side of the cake and say, what would be what am I going to gain by doing this? So you've got that contrast in place. And therein, I think you'll find the motivation, the inspiration, because I truly believe that where there's a will, there is a way. Things end up getting delegated to someone else that are lower priority when you realize strategic planning is a higher priority for you. You do things more efficiently, more effectively. Because I do believe that what happens is our time will expand, or our activity will expand into the time available. So if we shrink our time because we've decided we're going to commit to spending some time doing our strategic plan over here, then we will be much more efficient. We'll look for efficiencies in our day to be able to set that as a high priority. So yes, I know creating income is key for each and every one of you. You know, revenue is really important. But I will tell you, you can go broke chasing revenue. Your business can fall apart by chasing revenue. You know, is making money killing your business? And that's a really key thing for me to throw out to you, that in fact, that focus always on I need to be making money versus planning is a very faulty notion. And my job, as I said, for all these panelists and all of the audience listening to this, is to challenge that thinking that you have. The thinking that you have has got you to where you are. And now my job is to shift that thinking, have you have a different perspective, learn some new things, challenge yourself in a different way so that you can actually now take your business to the next level. And it won't get there with the current thinking that you've got. So Mary Lou, I wasn't speaking directly to you, but I was sort of answering that question generally, of course, to everyone here, which is it's absolutely critical that you do planning. So how do you create that time for it? Well, you shift it so that it becomes a priority. And sometimes the way you've got to do that is by really, really getting clear. What is it costing you? And then what are the benefits going to be from it? And when you're really focused on that, we all know we're highly motivated when we know something's costing us, don't we? When there's a pain that we have, something's not working, or it's costing us something, or we see that we're leaving money on the table. You know, how many thousands or hundreds of thousands are you leaving on the table by not having a plan? How many hours are you working more right now because there's a lack of a plan? You know, is your lifestyle suffering? Ask yourself those questions, and that will truly motivate you to take the next step and do some planning. So, Mary Lou, did I answer your question for you? And more?
You gave me a lot of information, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And yeah, you did. Yes, you did. The answer really is that you have to make the time. You have to make the decision to do it. And I like the comment about higher level of thinking. And I think a lot of us in our, whether we're entrepreneurial positions or we're leadership positions, we do a lot of tasks that because we feel we have to have control, and we could very easily hand those over so that we could invest our time elsewhere, working on the business instead of in it.
Great. Thank you for that. That's great. Well, everybody, I've got your comments after each of your questions, so I won't do a roundup tonight because I think everyone's got them. But I, again, want to encourage everyone to go to hangoutwithcoachkerry.com. You can watch this episode again. Please share it with your colleagues and other people. You can also find it, the episode I often post on, or it is posted every week on Facebook at Kerry Brown Coach, and share it with other people out there so that my wisdom, my knowledge, all of my expertise can help a lot more people just like you. So again, thank you very much, my panelists. We're episode 49 next week, so we're counting down to our 52nd episode. So again, look forward to talking to you all next week. Thank you, and thanks for your time today. And in the meantime, have an inspired week. Bye-bye, everybody.